Please welcome our superhero sponsor, the one and only FASE Group. Along with their super team members, Christy Undset, account specialist by day, superhero by night, Heath Propper, director of technology, he'd put Iron Man to shame, Thomas Price, senior developer and protector of the people, Mary Sarracino, CEO of the FASE Group and Heroes Worldwide. Today, they will be saving the day by presenting Dynamics HR, Payroll Integration and Solutions. Please stick around after their session for a live Q&A with these real-life superheroes.
Well, welcome to our multimedia presentation today, or DynamicsCon 2021. And we know it's lunchtime for some of you, and we appreciate you spending your valuable time with us. Today's presentation is a collaborated effort from both a Dynamics ISV, the FASE Group, as well as a well-known software provider, the Ultimate Kronos Group, UKG.
Yes, thanks, Mary. Appreciate you having us today, and we're looking forward to the presentation for DynamicsCon.
And our goal is to show you that you have options regarding your HR and payroll system. Some of you know us by our original name, JT Consulting, but we have grown and we are now known as the FASE Group. We will cover a bit about who we are a little later and why it's important. But essentially, we are a group that specializes in everything regarding human capital management. To give you a preview of what we're covering today, we will be explaining who we are and some of the trends and requirements of human capital management. For those of you who aren't familiar with that term, HCM, it's the current name now used to replace the term personnel or human resources. HCM encompasses everything to do with your company staff, your employees, your temporary or seasonal staff, and even contracted help. Basically, it's any person that works for your organization. So we will discuss the current trends, what is trending regarding how, what, and why the processes for managing data has changed, and why you should care. Following the overview, we will present our ISV products, starting with our popular integration solutions, then showing you a new option for payroll processing. And of course, we will have a live question and answer period at the end. We have 4 speakers today, and allow us to introduce ourselves. I'm Mary Sarracino, founder and CEO of the FASE Group and JT Consulting.
I'm Tom Price. I'm a senior developer with FASE Group, formerly known as JAT.
Yes, thanks, Tom. Hello, everybody. My name is Heath Propper, Director of Technology at UKG.
And hello, everybody. My name is Christy Undset at UKG as a solution expert.
And again, our goal is to enlighten you about what your current HR solutions can be integrated with and the best of class payroll solutions. So a little bit more about who we are. We are a group of vendors and implementers who realize that the Dynamics customers have a limited set of options for HR and payroll solutions. We are here to show you that there are remedies to this. We will be presenting an integrated option to address the need of HR data automation, as well as provide processes that keep employees in compliance. Many of you know us as JAT. We have been a VAR since 2002 and an ISV since 2006. Although we were established way back in 1985, we merged recently with the FASE Group. And as the FASE Group, we are a certified integration partner and implementation partner. And so with that, we are partnering up with the UKG Group, who, as we mentioned earlier, is a merged organization of Ultimate and Kronos. They have full HCM and workforce management solutions. As we specialize in all aspects of human capital management, we would like to take this opportunity to share some of the key trends in the industry. As you can imagine, all HCM solutions need to be able to hire, manage, and compensate staff. But the key is how it's done. There are some massive movements of employable people out there, from the Gen Y, who are just entering the workplace, to the baby boomers who have been beginning to retire. What is evident is that folks have been using their own personal devices to access information. There are recruiting systems that are made available that support phones, and other devices. And it's a rare organization that uses paper applications. You, as an employer, should be able to post jobs, accept applicants, and all online. And in that vein, not only do you need to be able to accept applicants, but be able to provide employee information digitally. You have to secure it, and you also have to allow access with most any device. So this isn't just employee self-service, but there's also requirements and needs for the manager. They should be able to see their staff, their work schedules, and their related skill sets. Does your application support that? And as these personal actions become more processes, more fuller processes, your solution should allow users to define and automate those processes, otherwise known as workflow. As many of you have had to manage staff and their related information, they need to automate the process, like onboarding, which keeps the required steps going, and so important processes are not dropped. Overall, digital transformation is the major trend in managing human capital. And with the advent of remote working staff, it is now more necessary to make key information easily available. And as many of you are aware, there are serious limitations with dynamic solutions. You have a basic HR solution, but with the government mandates of data reporting, you must find third-party solutions to support your needs. There are good options out there, but you must seek those solutions from multiple suppliers and try to keep the licensing and renewals organized. In some cases, your VAR can assist you, but in other cases, when you go direct, this can be a challenge to manage. In some cases, there are no real solutions that work in an integrated fashion with Dynamics. An example is mobile access. Nowadays, devices let them stay connected, and people have tablets and phones, and so your HCM system should be able to keep up with this ability. People can and do submit their applications remotely. Just look at the ads for Indeed. Wouldn't it be great if you can onboard new staff with new hires' help? With secure and mobile access, that can be completed, and they can complete the necessary data to pay themselves, their direct deposit, their W-4 information, as well as updating their information for life events, marital status changes, family changes. These changes could then be completed, again, with secured access, and that really is truly self-service. So the solution we look at today will actually handle this and not only ensure compliance with the various laws and court orders, but it can also do additional processes outside of just tax reporting. You can have and pay the garnishers, for those of you who get those lovely court orders, you can have garnishments processed directly out of your payroll. That's really not a function and feature that's commonly found in payroll solutions. Our main goal for today is to not only show you our integration solutions, but to give you a sense of an incredible payroll solution, one that we have worked with for many years. But as far as our ISV solutions, BenefitsConnect started out as a way to export benefit enrollment data to a couple of benefit carriers, but it evolved into a full EDI solution that not only supports industry standards, but also allows you to support carrier requirements. So BenefitsConnect has grown to accommodate these, as well as other integration capabilities. Our Payroll Connect product is something that evolved initially out of Paychex. So many of you have used Paychex as a payroll service provider in the past, and our first payroll integration tool used Paychex. Next came ADP, very large payroll provider, and with multiple flavors of solutions, we needed to develop a process where we could take employee data and more specifically, changes of employee data and feed that to the payroll provider in a manner that appeared to be seamless for the users. So we developed Payroll Connect. This is a product that's used by a number of our clients and has been recently enhanced to support UKG Pro Payroll, which we're very excited to talk about today. In addition, we have developed integration to feed employee information from Dynamics into time capture systems. Certainly, UKG Workforce, Dimensions, Kronos, that term might be more familiar. Sierra Systems is another. So there are a number of time capture solutions out there, and depending on your size and complexity, we can have the HR data out of Dynamics, feed that information into your time capture system. And now for the fun stuff. We have 3 solutions we're presenting today and put together an overview and, where possible, a demonstration of the products. The first solution is our BenefitsConnect integration tool, as I mentioned earlier. The next product is our Payroll Connect, which will actually be going through a bit of the process and how it works. And then lastly, but not least, is the UKG Pro Payroll solution. At this point, I'd like to turn this over to Tom so we can go through the BenefitsConnect capability.
Thank you, Mary. BenefitsConnect was developed specifically to extract employee independent data and reformat it using EDI 834 specifications for submission to benefit carriers. The application has been enhanced to support other file formats, including fixed fields and delimited, i.e. CSV files. This is basically an extract, transform, and load process using SQL Server views, which allows the client to specify what is to be extracted. BenefitsConnect can be executed ad hoc from a Windows application or from a command line, i.e. hands-free. This allows the application to be invoked from a batch file or a script with execution parameters. The batch file can be scheduled to run at a specific times and can include other processes such as file encryption, FTP, or email submission to the carrier. As this is a background process in general, there's not really much we can demonstrate on an online screen, but if you want a full demonstration of the features and implementation of BenefitsConnect, we can arrange one. Payroll Connect is a Windows application written in Visual Basic using Access and SQL Server databases. It can run on any Windows platform with connectivity to the Dynamics GP SQL Server database. The intent of the application is to allow users running Dynamics GPHR to integrate with other payroll systems, making the Dynamics GP database the system of record. Changes to personal data in Dynamics are detected and formatted for upload into the payroll system, reducing redundant data entry and ensuring data integrity. As it is, the Dynamics GP database is queried, not the Dynamics desktop. The changes can be from any sort, such as from a self-service application, time capture system, or anything else. This is an example of a new employee hired in the Dynamics desktop application. Harvey Allen has been entered. Various other employee changes have been made. We then start Payroll Connect, and from the menu, choose the process option. From the process option, we can specify things as the payroll start and end date. These are used for systems that use date effective transactions or for systems that can't handle future dated items, as we can pin the data and release it to the system when the payroll cycle comes up. When you press the process button, send it to the payroll provider, it also creates a archive of the data. In other words, a snapshot saying what the data looked at this point in time, which is then used in subsequent runs of Payroll Connect so it can do the compare again. After the process completes, you can look at the warning summary. This would show things that show that the new employee has been added and any other errors that might have taken place. In this case, there's a couple of warnings about future dating. That's just because of test data in the system, not a concern. In addition to the warnings report, you will see a change report showing all the data that it's changed. So you can see the new hire data, any other things such as here, you can see a rate change has been made, things like that. After the changes have been sent, payrolls run, and a report can be requested, which will show detail level payroll data for the employee. We can take that file from the payroll carrier, reformat it, and place it into manual check transactions within the Dynamics system. After the payroll is successfully completed, Payroll Connect report can be requested. This report is a file of the payroll employee level detailed data in the specified format. It is reformatted and loaded into the Dynamics GP system as batches of manual check. A report is generated so that the check data can be reconciled with the standard payroll reports. After these batches are posted using the Dynamics posting routines, this allows the data to flow to all levels of the Dynamics system, including General Ledger, any business portals, or other applications using the dynamic data. That pretty much concludes our demonstration of the Payroll Connect product, and I'd like to turn it over to Heath for a little review of the UKG.
Thanks, Tom, so much. I appreciate it. And thanks again to the FASE Group and DynamicsCon for having us today. Really looking forward to sharing a little bit more about our purposeful pay and time solutions and showing you some of the capabilities of the UKG Pro payroll offering. So for the purposes of today's discussion, while UKG does offer full suite human capital management, workforce management, and payroll solutions, we also do offer deployment models to complement Dynamics deployments in the sense of deploying UKG Pro in a payroll-only or workforce management only type model. As part of our purposeful payroll and time and attendance offerings, we support seamless integrations with your Dynamics ERP, while at the same time allowing in-house control of your payroll processing. In addition to the payroll processing solutions, we also offer tax filing and print services options, as well as automation of many of the traditionally manual payroll process functions, such as new hire reporting, filing your notch and direct deposit files, and tax filing services. And for those of you who also may need some assistance with the payroll processing functions, we do have a managed services option that can be explored. So in the event that you actually need a team or individuals processing your actual payroll for you, you'll see several options available from UKG that also support that deployment model. So I'm going to turn it over to Christy here in just a minute to take you through some of the great capabilities of the platform, focusing on several key areas. First is going to be employee transparency. So the type of experience that your employees will have in working with their payroll information. So she's going to walk you through the mobile experience, talk about some great features such as Pay Insights and Model My Pay. In addition, she's going to cover and highlight some of the compliance capabilities of the application, showing you the ACA dashboard and how we handle wage attachments and garnishments right within the portal. And then finally, Christy is also going to highlight some of the administration for your payroll practitioners. Focus on reporting and analytics, retro pay functionality, pending pay items, and giving campaigns, all capabilities which can augment the payroll processing and functions within your organization in a very streamlined approach without the administrative overhead that goes along with those traditional functions within your organization. So Christy, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Heath. And I will go ahead and start sharing my screen. So here's Harvey, and part of that employee transparency that Harvey would love to have is all around the insight into his pay. Now, Harvey also has other options for clocking, as we made possible to you a little bit earlier. But right now our focus is going to be directly around how Harvey gets paid and the insight that he has. So for an example, as I'm looking at my gross pay, I have options to look at this current pay period. I also have options to look at my year to date. Now, in addition to that, sometimes I need insight as to why my pay is different. And these are one of the things that we take a proactive approach on. So employees get those messages that say, hey, in this particular case, your pay is different than on your previous check. Congratulations, you received a bonus. You also had some overtime. This is that full insight that cuts down on the amount of questions that you get as a payroll administration team. In addition to that, sometimes I may know that I'm working extra hours or I'm about to receive a bonus, and maybe I want to understand what the future of my pay is going to look like. So in this case, I can also calculate what my future earnings could be by just making some of those adjustments. Maybe I knew I work about 10 hours of overtime this week. So I want to kind of project what that particular check is going to look like. So we offer these types of tools right at your employees' fingertips to really be able to understand what their take-home pay is going to be and how it could be different. In addition to that, we also want to offer those different types of insights as it relates to being able to make edits to direct deposit information or having that direct access into being able to update their W-4 and or also being able to access their W-2. And that's a little bit of the employee experience from a mobile device. And of course, this is available on any type of tablet. As long as it's a smart device, they'll be able to have access in either a tablet or desktop view. All right, so let's talk about how we're processing that payroll. Now, depending on the access and the security level, you'll be able to create your own favorites menu to really tailor and personalize the things that you all do day in, day out as a user. So let's talk about payroll processing. Payroll processing is all about having that direct access into the types of payrolls that we're running. And depending on who or what I can see will depend on what I can manage and what payrolls I can also manage. So from a perspective, if I'm a large organization and maybe I have multiple payrolls that I'm running for different reasons, right? It could be because they have a different start and end date, or perhaps a different pay date, or perhaps it's for different areas of the country. So this is now going to allow me to have everything in one place. You'll never be asked to store different information in different places, nor will you be asked to have different company codes that you have to log in and out of. It's also good to know that you truly have the keys to the kingdom. You can create your own off-cycle checks, off-cycle payrolls, and then of course have the access that you need to create new earnings, deductions, codes, all of those things that make sense into how we're paying our people. On top of that, when it comes to those important earnings codes, everything is really made through a job wizard. And that job wizard allows me to define exactly how that earnings code is going to be taxed, how it's going to be paid. So whether or not we're talking about different types of rules calculation as it relates to flat amounts, or perhaps in relation to how it's going to be taxed for supplemental wage, this is all about the detail of what we're going to include also for those important complex calculations around FLSA calculations and blended overtime, knowing that the software has my back, right? It's running all of those different types of compliance rules to make sure that my people are paid not only efficiently, but accurately. Now, in addition to that, we also have the need to be able to come in and be able to do those different types of flexible pay, meaning that not every pay group and not every company pays their employees the same way. In some instances, perhaps I have different employees who are paid hourly. And in this particular case, I can immediately come in and I can go ahead and see what we're doing as far as bringing in PTO. So maybe this is just a salary payroll where now that's all I'm really doing as part of this step. You get to define what those steps are to process your payroll. It's not a box that you have to fit into. And in other cases, as that's running, I can work other payrolls. I never have to wait for one to finish while I'm trying to do my work more efficiently. So in any other type of payroll, I can also immediately come in and I can see here that there are some additional steps. Perhaps one of those steps is bringing in something like expenses or outside commissions. This is going to allow me to easily go out, accept that file, and import that file as part of the process, making it really able to be done in all one fell swoop. Now, as I go in to make some of those different edits, we want to give you different avenues to be able to do that. So absolutely, I can come into what we refer to as more of that grid view, allowing me to easily come in and put in a handful of changes if I needed to. But at the same time, I can also come in and I can view or edit more of those calculated results, the things that are happening for me in the background. And since we mentioned blended overtime before, let's take a look at one of those results. So here's Robert. Robert is working multiple different jobs. He's also has multiple different rates that he's attached to. We're also getting Robert a bonus here in this particular calculation as well. And what this is telling us, with all three of those rates combined, I now have a rate of 53 for that overtime rule, that blended overtime rate. And if I needed to make a change to this, maybe I miskeyed this. This is supposed to be 500, or hey, whoever gave me that Excel spreadsheet to import, it was incorrect on. Now, as I make that one change, I don't have to recalc my whole payroll. This is that real-time processing that works for me efficiently and allows me to get to all those different changes. And again, now I can see that that rule is in place. It decreased that blended overtime rate, calculating that rule in the background for me, allowing that true calculation engine to make sure that his pay is going to be accurate. Those are all those different compliance rules working for us in the background. Now, as I go through, I'm also going to want to have those different types of reports that come with each step of my processing. Now, some of those reports could be pre-check reports. Some of those reports might also be things that I want to see at every level. So again, I can make sure that those checks and balances are there, that my hours and my time cards are calculating correctly. I'm going to be able to see that in real time, as well as being able to deliver more specific reports that are actionable. Now, some of these reports are going to be standard, right? To where now I can come out and let's say in any type of reporting capability, especially around the things that keep us compliant, EEO1, dashboard reporting, where now I can come in for ACA purposes, looking at my potential monthly penalties, my affordable coverage, offered coverage, being able to produce those 1095s as we need them to keep us compliant as an employer, and also having upcoming deadline checklist, right? Giving that notification to our clients in a way that they understand what they need to take care of as part of that process. Now, not only do we want to provide you with some pre-check reports, but we want to make sure that those reports are also actionable. So when thinking about actionable reports, this means they have the ability to drill into those different reports. And we refer to our analytics tool as business intelligence. And really, this is all about defining what that is going to look like. So in this particular case, I've decided that as a user, these are the key elements that I want to see around my workforce cost and as it relates to my budget for payroll. And on top of that, I want to make those different types of reports available to me when it comes to streamlining my activity around payroll. So if I'm going in and I'm running all these different concurrent payrolls, I also want to make different types of reporting actionable, meaning drillable scorecards, to where now I can come in, make that a little bigger for you. I can select a specific pay group that I'm working on. And as a pre-check, these are all the things that keep me up at night, right? Active employees not paid, terminated employees being paid. These are things that I want to create exceptions on, and that I can even make my own exceptions on. I never have to worry about things being such in a box that it doesn't allow me to make the things that are alarming to me or that I wanted to be alerted about right within my scorecard. And then if I have somebody that's exceeding $5,000 in gross in wages, I can make that update. I can get the detail around that particular exception that I'm tracking. And I can see right now, Leslie has $53,000 in gross. Perhaps now I need to go back and look at a bonus import that I imported, or perhaps I keyed in what was supposed to be a $5,000 bonus as a $50,000 bonus. But where does it take me? Right back into an edible payroll, where now I can come in, correct the change that I made, and save my change and move on to my next exception. This is really just now allowing me that drillable, actionable capability, not just within a report that I'm stressing my eyes over, but actually allowing me to take it directly where I can make that change. Now, other things that we may want to accomplish, of course, too, when it comes to those different types of payroll reports, are going to be those pre-check pay registers that start to finish, those things that, again, allow me to see exactly how my payroll is being processed by earnings, taxes, deductions, all of those things that come across. And yes, do I have them viewable right here within UKG Pro? Absolutely. But I also have the ability to drill them right down to Excel, where now I can see all of my information displayed, and I can again move on to the next report that I need. So just different ways that we can again process the data, look at the data, and understand that all of those compliance rules are happening for us in the background and really allowing us to hone in on the different areas that we're sending over to our GL. And in speaking of our GL, there's going to be specific reports that are going to allow us to drill even further down into the detail by employee. So as we're making that import into Dynamics, now we have the ability to even select specific pay dates, drill down by the different sections that make up our GL string. So there's different segmented accounts that come in and say, hey, I want to see everything that was charged to a specific account, or one of those segments of that account, allowing that drillable information. So again, we can make sure that all of our numbers are matching up and we're not stressing over that 20 cents that we're looking for. Also, at the end of sometimes a month or a quarter, we need to do that true up, right? That GL accrual that's going to allow us to import that file directly. So I can immediately come out, select my chart of accounts, put in the number of days that I want to go ahead and true up for. And of course, perhaps use a payroll specifically that's going to allow me to create that import file going directly as the accrued number of days for that quarter or end of month period. It's all about that labor allocation and how we're getting that to those specific GL accounts. But I hope today this kind of shows you a quick version of what it would look like in processing payroll through UKG Pro. So Mary, I will throw it back to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Christy. We are now moving into the live Q&A session and look forward to any questions or concerns or information you might want. We'd also like to thank you for your time and attention during the session today. We know you have a choice and had a choice and are grateful that you decided to spend that with us. So please come by our booth, the FASE Group, and check us out. You can pick up materials, they're downloadable, and we will be here all week, all conference, and look forward to meeting you, even though it's virtual. You can also go directly to our websites, both the phasegroup.com to see any information about the integration tools, and definitely about any of the payroll processing solutions. You can go to ukg.com. Thank you again. Yeah, thank you. Hello? All right, so from Amber, there's a question about, do we have clients that have migrated from ADP? I don't know if that's a question about the integration to their payroll solution, but we do have clients that we've migrated from ADP to Ultimate UKG or UKG Pro.
Yeah, Mary, a significant portion of our new customers do transition off of one of the ADP platforms. So whether that's a Workforce Now or Vantage, or if you're growing and you were previously on one of the SMB products like Run, we do transition a significant amount of customers over to the UKG solutions.
Hopefully that answers your question. Question 2, once the payroll is entered into your product, is the check or direct deposit done through the standard GP window? Actually, Tom, do you want to answer that question?
No, the check or direct deposit would be done from UKG.
Yeah. Christy, anything else to add there as part of payroll automation or a post back to Dynamics with the GL information?
Correct. Yes. The direct deposit would be handled directly through UKG Pro. And then at that point, once the payroll is closed, the payroll will then be posted to the GL and GP.
And then Tom, could you add to that? Because we do have a bidirectional option with Payroll Connect.
Yes, it's not just a post to GL. It brings it back in and we post it as batches of manual checks so you can review the check level data for employees at that within GP. If you have a GP portal set up, the individual employees can see their check information from GP, as well as I'm sure they can see it through UKG also.
Yeah.
So a side question to the ADP question, I'm sorry, if they use ADP, what about fixes, voids, etc.? Tom, I think that's a question for GP.
Voids are handled manually within GP. So if we get a check run from UKG back that has a voided check, we tell you what the check number is, and then you use the standard GP process to void it within GP.
And if I understand correctly, the whole goal of bringing the data back from the payroll solution is to post the information as though you've run it in GP, and then it will go through the standard processes to post in the general ledger. Correct, Tom?
Yes, it's not just general ledger, it's any portion of the system that's being used, such as an employee self-service portal or anything like that.
Yeah, and just to add to that too, it lives as a historical record within the employee profile in UKG Pro. So you're able to see the voided check. So it just doesn't disappear. Like I know sometimes happens in other systems, you actually see the line of history as well.
Yeah, and that's true within the GP product too, that history would stay there.
Correct.
And that's the whole idea about bringing a check back rather than just GL. If you just brought GL information back, that's at a summary level, and you wouldn't see that level of detail, but you can when using this integration product.
Okay, a couple more questions. How about deductions like child support?
Yeah, so those are all handled on the UKG Pro side. Once the deduction is put into the employee check, we handle all of the communication back and forth, and all of the rules are built at both the federal and the state level to make sure that all things compliance are happening for you in the background, such as, those different state rules that may only take, up to a 50 or 55% deduction of the employee's check. All that is written in the earnings itself and the deduction itself.
Right. And Christy, I believe there's also an option if you have something like a child support. One of the unique pieces that's not handled in GP is the fact that you could have the third-party payees processed through the payroll process. So that, right?
Yep, that is correct. We handle all of the payments electronically for each garnishment and child support order that allows that.
So Amber asked, do they pay through GP or UKG? They're actually getting paid through UKG.
UKG, correct.
So GP is the holder of information, employee information.
Correct. Yeah, we process all of the payroll processing pieces, such as child support, garnishments, taxes, as we said, payment to the employees, direct deposit, both manual check as well. Those are all happening on the UKG Pro side.
Right. Brad asked a question. To be clear, the solution is mainly to improve integrations with a third-party payroll vendor and not if we perform payroll in-house. Job cost reasons we perform in-house.
Yeah, that's true. And to Tom's point earlier about not necessarily taking just the summary level detail from a GL standpoint, but also pulling back in the employee check level detail. That's the piece, that secondary piece there that drives those things like job costing within the ERP or within Dynamics. So that you certainly have both options, right? The journal entry, the summary level information from a journal entry standpoint to feed the financial side of the house. But then for those folks that are also doing job costing, the FASE solution does also pull back in the employee check level detail so that it provides the same type of scenario for your output as if the payroll is actually processed in GP. Did I get that right, Tom?
That's correct.
Good.
Yes, very good point, because project accounting and stuff like that, if they're implemented, can automatically be fed because it's posted as a check in GP, as well as UKG, of course.
Yeah.
And just to add to that, there's even more capability than we see in GP for payroll, so that if at the mobile level, which is kind of, employee self-service on steroids. So that's kind of an exciting piece too. In fact, UKG really has gone off and has probably the most experience in providing mobile device support to workforce management, human capital management. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, no, we appreciate that, Mary. One of the things that we can also do mobily as well, if an employee has a question about their pay, even after looking at the pay insights and the detail on their check, there is an option for them to actually ask a question directly and have it create a case within UKG Pro that can be tracked at all levels, meaning the response back from the payroll administrator that it is smart routed to, because it automatically knows that question about payroll and who it should be approved by, who it should be routed to, and then of course the follow-up to that as well. And it's all tracked within UKG Pro.
Great. I think that was it on the questions. Does anyone have any other? we could have, oh, I think we do have one more. Amber asked, but someone would use this instead of something like ADP, right? They would be processing their own payroll.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. And if you were leveraging something like Total Source from ADP, as we talked about earlier, there is a managed services component that we also offer at UKG that would provide a similar experience to the Total Source offering from ADP.
Yes. And we have another question from Bob. Integration with MS Dynamics GP is great to hear, but they're curious about whether we integrate or plan to with other Dynamics applications.
I guess maybe Mary or Tom, I'll let you talk first to see if you guys are extending your capabilities to other Dynamics solutions. Then I'll talk on the pro side.
Thank you. Tom,
Yes,
I'll start. If you don't, or go ahead, Tom, please answer.
Yes, we're definitely looking at other dynamic solutions to incorporate within the Payroll Connect product.
So specifically more Dynamics 365 for F&O and for Business Central, right?
Yes.
Great, thanks. Yeah, thanks, Tom. And then on the UKG side, we're agnostic when it comes to the ERP or financial platform that's being leveraged, as UKG does not provide financials or back office solutions from an operations standpoint. So we know we have to be able to seamlessly connect with not only partners of ours like FASE, who create the kind of connectors or connections between the two solutions, but also offer opportunities for customers who might also take a self-service approach with a portion of the integration on their own and provide those necessary capabilities. So whether it's 365, AX, or GP, whether it's cloud or on-prem, you'll see capabilities available within the UKG Pro suite of solutions from an integration services standpoint, again, to support the connections that third-party providers like FASE Group supports and offers to our mutual customers, as well as direct integration capabilities.
Okay. I guess that's it of the questions. Again, just to clarify, the goal is to utilize your HR data in Dynamics, be it GP, which is where we have had our solution out for at least a dozen years and a number of clients using that, to D365, where if you're using F&O, there's an HR component that goes with that ERP. So if you choose to keep your HR data in D365, but you want a payroll solution, that integration, our Payroll Connect, formerly called JPI, I don't know if we made that point, allows you to keep that data and own your employee data there in D365, and then integrate to a payroll solution and everything that goes around that, a workforce management, timekeeping, scheduling, attendance, those types of things could be done through the UKG app.
Yeah, great point, Mary. And I think just to add to that a little, what solutions like the connectors and integration capabilities that you all offer allow organizations to be able to do is continue to leverage their investment in the best of breed operational or financial solution and packages that they've brought in or implemented in the organization, like GP, but at the same time also be able to leverage best of breed capabilities on the workforce management, HCM, and payroll side of the house with something like their investment in UKG Pro, for example. So having the connector available from you all as part of the partnership with us does really make or provide the best of both world type scenarios for our mutual customers.
I think if there's any other questions, looks like we're going to wrap up a little early. And they have great commercials following us. So,
okay, well, thanks everybody for their time.
Yes,
thanks for having us, everybody. Thanks to Dynamics.com. Appreciate it.
St. Patty's Day.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.